Angles for the pylon. Touchdown!
Plus, the James Harden drama continues.
He believes the entire league owes him whatever he wants because he's so talented. But the truth is, the story of his career has always been when it mattered most, he doesn't come up big. And the moment things turn a direction he doesn't like, he just wants out.
This is Sports Center all night.
If you got two people out there, top 100 on your team, you should be winning games. You should make playoffs. Why are you so bad? if everybody nice, why are you so bad?
Here's Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM, Channel 80, a show of power Thursday night in Texas following a thriller of an ending in Arizona. But speaking of thrilling finishes, Thursday night football kicking off week 7.
Jaguars at Saints.
Trevor Lawrence had question marks surrounding him all week, but he did play. And he leads a 10-play drive for a touchdown on the opening possession, taking more than 5 minutes off the clock, first possession of the game. He'd have another touchdown drive in the second quarter. Jags, 17-6 lead at the half. Third quarter, Jags also getting a boost from their defense.
Four-man rush, dropping his car, looking, steps forward, fires to the middle of the field, and that ball is picked off by 4e370da3d347 off the deflection to the 15 as he runs it back to the 10, to the 5, angles for the pylon, touchdown! 4e370da3d347 brought back the deflected interception for the score.
WWL with the Saints call, 1010XL 92.5 FM as the Jags wind up taking a 24-9 lead to the fourth quarter. The Saints do rally.
Carr to throw, going for the end zone, going for Mike Thomas, who makes the catch, and they're saying touchdown, Saints for Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas on the far side brought it down. We'll have to wait and see about the feet. But what a play by Mike Thomas over Monteric Brown.
WWL, that touchdown brings the Saints to within 2. They go for 2 and convert, tying the game with 6.5 to go. Jags weren't done.
An empty backfield for Trevor. 3 right, 2 left, he drops. Looks, checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. A crossing route to Christian Kirk. And the Jags have retaken the lead.
With 3 minutes to go, that means they left Derek Carr with 3 minutes with which to work. And he takes the Saints on a 12-play drive down to the Jags' 6-yard line inside the final minute, down by a touchdown.
30 seconds, 3rd and goal. Carr to throw. Does throw to the end zone, and that is incomplete. Right through the hands of Foster Moreau. Got 2 hands on it at the far corner of the end zone, but could not bring it in.
Yeah, that's a corner route. I mean, and that's maybe an inch too far, but I don't know if you can throw it any better. I mean, that's one you got to come up with. Just one you got to make.
It was right there, WWL. That was 3rd down. So the silver lining for New Orleans, they still had one more shot.
Jags are blitzing. They're all coming. They throw to the left corner of the end zone. That ball is incomplete. That ball is incomplete. The Jags take over on downs. That ball is incomplete in the left corner of the end zone. The Jags take over on downs at their own 6-yard line with 21 seconds left in the ball game.
1010XL 92.5 FM. Jags survive and they win it 31-24. They are 5-2 for the first time since 2007. They wound up 11-5 that season, lost in the divisional round of the postseason. But they're 5-2 for the first time since 2007. Trevor Lawrence did play 204 yards, a career-high 59 yards rushing, also passed for a touchdown, played through the pain for Coach Doug Peterson.
I saw it last year when he got injured. You know, he got injured in the Detroit game, and he battled with injury throughout the course of the rest of the, through the rest of the year and gutted that out. This is different. This is a short week. And on Monday, I would have told you that he was not playing in this football game on Monday. But that's not who Trevor is. And again, proud of his effort, the ability to, escape the pocket and run. Fortunately, they were straight ahead runs. He didn't have to cut too much. But, a lot of gutsy performances out there, and his is probably the number one.
Trevor Lawrence, 3rd career game with 200 yards passing and 50 yards rushing. Only Mark Brunell has more such games in Jaguars history. He has 5. Trevor Lawrence now has 3. As for the Saints, The loss drops them to 3-4. ESPN analyst Damian Woody says it could be tough sledding moving forward for the Saints, although they are in one of those divisions.
This thing is far from over in the NFC South. I mean, I think the Buccaneers are in first place, but it's still anyone's game probably outside the Carolina Panthers. I think the biggest thing when we talk about the New Orleans Saints is their offense. Their offense, it just seems for much of the game tonight, they were out of sorts between Derek Carr and the receivers. A lot of misfired balls, routes weren't connected together. Those are the type of things that they got to get fixed. And you would expect, a veteran group like the New Orleans Saints have between the quarterbacks and receivers, that they wouldn't have those type of errors as far as those missed throws and errors in their routes.
This is the first year, for the first time in 3 years, it's a post-Brady division. It was totally wide open. You mentioned the Panthers, the NFL's worst team, the only winless team, is out. Bucks with 3 wins, Falcons with 3 wins, Saints now 3-4. How do you size up the NFC South?
Yeah, listen, I think right now, if I had to give the edge to someone, I'll probably give it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Baker Mayfield is playing some pretty good football down there. It seems like his career has been rejuvenated down there in Tampa. The Tampa always has a pretty good defense. They got weapons on the outside, obviously, with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So they have all the pieces there. But, Zubin, this division is going to be very tight. If Atlanta can get anything out of their quarterback, they'll have an opportunity there as well. So right now I got to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but this season is far from over.
Derek Carr throws for 300 yards and a touchdown. Did have an interception. Alvin Kamara, 12 catches, 91 yards, but it comes in the Saints' loss, 31-24 to the Jags, opening up Week 7. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio, from Week 7 to a best-of-7 NLCS, ALCS, both continuing on Thursday. In the ALCS, it's been the road team. Granted, neither team's had to leave its state, but it's Texas, so there's some travel involved. Rangers took the first 2 of the series in Houston. Astros bounced back with a winning Game 3 on Wednesday. Thursday, Game 4. Yes, road team. Again. In the first inning, no less.
First and third, nobody out. The pitch to Bregman. He sends one to right center, and this one is deep. Nobody's going to get it. It hits down, goes to the wall. Altuve easily in. Dubon follows. Bregman to third. Here's the throw. He's got a triple. And it is 2-0 on Alex Bregman's triple to right. What a start for Houston. The dangerous Yordan Alvarez. He rifles one into center field on a first pitch fastball. Alvarez delivers again. Bregman is in. All 4 have reached. And it is 3-0 Houston.
Houston with the early lead. Texas rallies back and ties it, but the Astros would hit the gas pedal again.
The next pitch, Abreu rifles one deep to left center field, and Jose Abreu is a hero. A 3-run shot, and a no-doubter that traveled 438 feet. Abreu's 4th of the postseason. The Astros now lead by 4. What a shot. Abreu at second in the 7-3 game. Astros on top. McCormick gets into one to left field. Carter back. Wall over the wall. Chas McCormick, a 2-run shot, and it is all Astros.
Yordan Alvarez, an RBI single in the 8th, giving the Astros 10 runs.
The 0-1. On the ground, Bregman will field it, and he will throw to first. And the Astros make a statement. They even the series up at 2-2. They scored 10 with 11 hits and a couple of big blasts. And it's a whole new series in the LCS.
10-3 the final for Houston Astros with 18 runs over the last 2 games. Most runs by a team in games 3 and 4 after being down 0-2 in a best-of-7. You heard this one, like every game of baseball's postseason, here on ESPN Radio. Carl Ravitch, Tim Kirkchin, Eduardo Perez with the call for us. Carl?
Jay, thank you very much. It is becoming almost inexplicable, unconscionable, what the Astros are able to do on the road in Arlington. They are now 8-1 and have scored 57 runs in a visitor's ballpark in the last 5 games. They even the series up. They win it
10-3. Your takeaway, Tim?
It's amazing. They won 8 of 9 here. They've hit 26 home runs. They were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position in the first 2 games at home. They come here and go 13 for 28, and there were another half a dozen balls that were absolutely scalded that were caught. Dusty Baker told us we love hitting in this ballpark,
Yes.
and boy, was that clear in games 3 and 4.
Look, the top of the order has been dominant for the Houston Astros in the last 2 days. Jose Altuve gets on base 4 times today. You look at what Mauricio Dubon did, twice in the game. Alex Bregman, 3 times in the game. You look at Yordan Alvarez driving in runs, 3 times he gets on base. And then it creates all the havoc for the power of Jose Abreu, who has found it. This is a team right now that is feeling good, and they came to the right place to get right, and that's in this ballpark.
All right, now it becomes a best of 3, and you have Justin Verlander and Jordan Montgomery. Second time these teams will see these guys. Montgomery was terrific, but you've seen Montgomery in a second appearance struggle a little bit.
Right, he did the second time that the Orioles saw him, but he is really going to be up against it with the way this team is swinging. But Montgomery has been so good since the day he showed up with the Rangers. I think he'll be good tomorrow. I do.
Okay, see, this is where I don't think he will. And the reason I don't believe he will is because he caught the Houston Astros off guard. Dusty Baker even told us, wow, he threw a lot harder than what we thought. A lot of the players coming back in the dugout, that curveball is a lot better than what we thought. I asked Jose Altuve, whoa, I did not expect that. Now they do. Now they will. And I think a team like the Houston Astros that make adjustments within games, you're giving them 5 days, 6 days to make another adjustment. Advantage Houston.
And they are rolling right now. It's nothing better. We are tied 2-2 after 4 games. Game 5 during the afternoon. And we look forward to listening and seeing everybody then. A doubleheader tomorrow will be great. With Tim Kirchin, Eduardo Perez, I'm Carl Ravitch, right here on your home for the World Series, Major League Baseball, on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We send it back to Jay Reynolds. Jay is in the studio.
Oh, Carl, rubbing it in. Thanks. I'll come to the show sitting next to you. Not a problem. 2-2. It's now a best of 3 for the ALCS. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. To the NLCS, Phillies behind their home crowd, taking the first 2 games somewhat emphatically at home. Game 3 in Arizona. This one a pitcher's duel. Nobody had a run until the 7th.
And the pitch. Way outside, it gets past the catcher. Here comes Harper, and the throw is too late on a wild pitch. Bryce Harper dives across, and the Phillies have a 1-0 lead. I mean, that missed everything.
John Jambi calling it here on ESPN Radio. Phillies score first in the top of the 7th, bottom of the 7th.
1-1. Swing and a ground ball past the diving Bohm, down the left field line and into the corner. Thomas racing for third. They're going to send him. Here's the throw, and the relay is dropped it short by Turner. Thomas is in. It's an RBI double for Gurriel, and the Diamondbacks have tied it at 1.
So Arizona evens it up, still 1-1. Bottom 9, bases loaded for the Diamondbacks.
The 0-1. Swing and a line drive. Base hit. Center field. Racing home is Pavin Smith. Ketel Marte and the Diamondbacks walk it off. And Arizona is back in this series. The Diamondbacks win it 2-1, and this series is now 2-1.
The Phillies still with the lead, but the Diamondbacks get the first walk-off by any team this postseason. Pavin Smith is the one who scores the game-winning run from third. He chatted with our Jesse Rogers.
Well, that was exciting, Pavin. Tell me what's going through your mind at third base. You just had a runner thrown out at third, so what are you ready for?
Just ready for anything on the ground. Bases were loaded, so I had to go on contact pretty much. Saw the ball in the air, made sure it got down, and then spun it around to Marte.
Yeah, Marte made it easy on you. I meant you had a runner thrown out at home. How about this win? It gets you back in this series. I mean, what was that dugout like in the ninth?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, you can listen to this crowd, too. I mean, I can barely hear you right now. They're still going crazy. So we really fed off that energy, and, we can't wait for tomorrow.
Let's go back to you. Coming off the bench, a couple hits. How do you stay ready in a playoff game situation like this?
Yeah, just try to breathe, keep your heart rate down. We got the cage for in between innings, so my routine has been just go in the 5th inning, 4th inning, and get ready and be ready for when your name's called.
You feel like once you get to first, you get that runner at third, okay, we have a shot at ending this thing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, always have confidence with our guys with runners on third, less than 2. Manny hit it hard just right at Trey. And then obviously Perdomo with a great walk there. You know, he was down to 2 strikes and laying off Kimbrel's sliders was huge.
What can you say about Marte? He's had a great series.
He's unbelievable. Righty, lefty. He's been our best hitter so far this series.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Marte, 3 for 5 with the walk-off hit. Third Diamondbacks player in franchise history with a walk-off plate appearance in the postseason. Choppy waters on Michigan. Again, Sports Center all night continues. It's ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Friday, the Diamondbacks take Game 3, but I'll tell you if they have enough to win the series. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
This is Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? Because everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected performance, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Visit prizepicks.com/OT and use code OT. That's code OT at prizepicks.com/OT.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. Trying to protect your identity by yourself is a lot like trying to be a quarterback without an offensive line. LifeLock alerts you to blindside threats you may miss on your own, even if you're monitoring your credit. If a threat happens to get through, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist is there to help. Join now and save up to 25% your first year at LifeLock.com/sports. That's LifeLock.com/sports to save 25%. LifeLock. Identity theft protection starts here.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
I'm Andrea, founder of a boutique handbag brand, Andy, and this is why I switched to Shopify. I tried 3 other platforms prior to Shopify, and I remember my breaking point was when I would try to make one little change and my entire site would go down. Shopify made it really easy for me to shift everything over and hit the ground running. I was easily able to migrate my products and all of my customer information over. With the drag and drop theme editor, we don't need to hire a developer to do any coding. What's amazing is that each theme is automatically optimized on mobile. It's incredible. It looks even better on the phone. We really like adventure. We would not be able to go on the road without a platform that we can rely on. What are you waiting for? Start your free trial with Shopify today.
From templates that make site design simple to customizations that let you grow at your pace, this is your possibility powered by Shopify. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/play. That's shopify.com/play. Go to shopify.com/play to take your business to the next level today.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Thanks for making Sports Center All Night part of your night. Sports Center All Night is presented by Progressive.
And that is it! An unforgettable finish to Game 4. And for the first time in 21 years, the WNBA has a back-to-back champion.
We fought through so much adversity throughout the season, and we just kept the main thing, and we came out on top. And I can't express how proud I am of my teammates. They picked me up when I was down. We cried together, prayed together, and now we popping champagne together.
Las Vegas Aces, 2 titles in franchise history, closing out the New York Liberty Wednesday to win the title. Not easy to lose a championship series, but rules are rules. The WNBA on Thursday fining the Liberty $25,000 after some of the players declined media interviews following the loss to Las Vegas. Liberty players, including Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones, were also fined $2,000 individually for turning down media requests. Speaking of discipline, there could be more heading in the direction of Jim Harbaugh and Michigan. The NCAA is investigating the second-ranked Wolverines in a sign-stealing scandal. ESPN college football senior writer Pete Thamel.
From your local high school to your alma mater goals, people have been stealing signs on the sideline legally for more than a century. The difference here, and what has risen this to a significant level, is that Michigan allegedly sent coaches or analysts, staffers, or whoever it was, to the games of future opponents in order to get their signals. That is explicitly illegal to do. And the way that the Big Ten has come out and spoken publicly about this, the way that Michigan has pledged their cooperation to this, speaks to a bigger, larger operation than just a one-off of, somebody going to Purdue with a notebook and an iPhone. So I think there is some depth to this from talking to sources today. And it comes at an interesting time for Michigan, which is under NCAA investigation still for recruiting allegations under Jim Harbaugh's time now.
To your point there, what does this now mean for Jim Harbaugh?
Well, Jim Harbaugh served a 3-game suspension this season. That was a school self-imposed suspension, Kevin. Schools tend to self-impose on the lighter side. That means he still has some exposure in the recruiting allegations in which he allegedly lied to the NCAA or misled the NCAA. So Harbaugh still basically has some punishment left. Now, this leaves him with some exposure to potentially things that happen in his program. Now, he denied knowledge of it today. We want to be very clear about that. But there are coach control rules of things that happen in your program that you're presumed responsible for. So Harbaugh now could be looking at a double whammy from the NCAA if these allegations of sign stealing and opponent scouting in particular prove to be true. And most importantly, the NCAA can prove them. Let's face it, Kevin, that is not the NCAA's specialty, moving quickly and getting to the bottom of it.
Michigan is 7-0, ranked second in the country. They're in East Lansing this weekend for a Big Ten matchup with Michigan State. Guests on ESPN Radio are on the Dr. Pepper call-in line. Sports Center All Night presented by Dr. Pepper. It's not college football season without the delicious taste of an ice-cold Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve. It's a weekend of big matchups in college football. The Big Ten giving us Ohio State, Penn State. It's a top 10 matchup. ESPN's College Game Day will be there on Saturday. The teams are both in the top 10 at the time of their matchup for the fourth time since 2017. Former NFL defensive tackle Tyoka Jackson, who came out of Penn State, says going into the Horseshoe is not an easy task.
It's really an incredible environment. Obviously Ohio loves their football, and, really there's a few universities in that state, as we all know, but there's only one king, and that's Ohio State. That they are the big dogs, and the fans turn out in droves. We know that Happy Valley and Beaver Stadium is the best college football experience, game day experience, and we feel that way, and so many others. But you got to respect, the type of environment that you get when you come in Ohio State. They're going to be loud, and they're going to be knowledgeable and honestly respectful. It's a great place to play in terms of a lot of the history throughout college football. Some of the greatest days and moments have been set in that stadium. And so I think our Lions have to be prepared to come into a hostile environment, but most importantly, to play a hostile team who's a very good and talented football team who some people questioned early, but they're starting to hit on their cylinders at the right time.
Former Nittany Lion Tyoka Jackson earlier on game night here on ESPN Radio. OSU, Penn State, both 6-0 overall. There's a big matchup in the ACC. Number 16 Duke at 4th-ranked Florida State. ESPN's Booger McFarland.
Are we talking basketball or football? Because if we're talking basketball, they got a hell of a chance. If we're talking football, I'm not really sure they have a chance. Their starting quarterback, Riley Leonard, he's out with a high ankle sprain. And they got this youngster, Henry Beeland, coming in, and he only completed 4 passes last week. Now, with that being said, they can run the football. So maybe the head coach, Mike Elko, can get this team to be physical and run the football. But, man, it's going to be a tough task because Florida State's playing really, really well. Florida State is battle-tested. They've played LSU. They've gone into the fake Death Valley, and they beat Clemson. And this quarterback, Jordan Travis, is playing well. He's got a plethora of wideouts on the outside, Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. So it's going to be a tall task. If this were basketball, baby, sign me up for the Dukies. But football, I'm not sure.
Booger McFarland out of LSU, you may recall, and thus the jab in there for the fake Death Valley when he mentioned Clemson. Duke, Florida State, it's on ABC on Saturday. Duke goes in at 5-1. Florida State has won all 6. Blue Devils, the last ranked opponent on the Seminoles' regular season schedule. What connection could the Bay of Pigs possibly have with the ALCS? You'll find out next. SportsCenter All Night continues. It's ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's Greeny, and we have ourselves a series in the NLCS. The Diamondbacks win at home. Are the Phils still in complete control? We'll talk about that and much more Friday morning. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Pete Actor Portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's GETETHOS.com.
Get your sea women and men and Tommy John each day. Remember, it's the perfect gift to give this holiday. To save us from discomfort when your under starts to fray. Give Tommy John for comfort and joy. Comfort and joy. Give Tommy John for comfort and joy.
Tommy John, I know them. Over 20 million pairs sold. We elves better get off our shelves and make some comfort and joy.
All throughout the land, Tommy John's gladly worn. Underwear and loungewear upon each blessed morn. Making everyone come to whose body they adorn. Give Tommy John for comfort and joy. Comfort and joy. Give Tommy John for comfort and joy.
Santa's not the only one with a sack, you know? Upgrade yours today with Tommy John underwear. Get 20% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/stream. TommyJohn.com/stream for 20% off. See site for details. They're so elfin comfortable.
An A-piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken's new hot and spicy wings is just $4.99. Prepped in secret spicy marinade, hand-breaded until crispy perfection. They're a delicious combination of heat and flavor. Kinda makes me want to celebrate. Hit it! Tasty heat! Tasty heat! Tasty heat! Wings, am I right?
You're right. Grab an 8-piece of KFC's new hot and spicy wings for just $4.99. Prices and participation may vary. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Half-hour headlines on Sports Center All Night.
Week 7 of the NFL kicking off on Thursday. Jaguars with a defensive stand in the final minute. They hold off the Saints and win the Thursday night matchup. Arizona walks it off in Game 3, so the home team has now won each of the 3 games in the NLCS. Then there's the ALCS, where the road team continues to flex its power.
The next pitch, Abreu rifles one deep to left center field, and Jose Abreu is a hero. A 3-run shot. And a no-doubter that traveled 438 feet. Abreu's 4th of the postseason. The Astros now lead by 4-7-3. What a shot.
And just like in Minnesota, Texas now has a Cuban Missile Crisis as well. That was a shot right there by Jose Abreu. Middle of the lineup, producing in a major way.
Eduardo Perez alongside Carl Ravitch here on ESPN Radio. Tim Kirkchin on the call as well. ALCS Game 4 goes to Houston. A 10-3 win over the Rangers. Astros with a couple of wins at Texas. The series is now tied at 2. Astros, the 5th team in baseball postseason history to tie a best-of-7 series after dropping the first 2 games at home. Jose Altuve, 3 for 4 with a couple of doubles. Jose Abreu, 1 for 3 with that homer, drives in 3, 4 homer, 10 RBI in his last 6 games. Our Buster Olney caught up with him.
And Jose, the turning point in this game was your home run. Walk us through that plate appearance and what you did there.
Hablarle a él sobre el turno en que conectaste el jonrón, que diste la vuelta al juego ahí.
Yo creo que los muchachos, es importante resaltar que los muchachos hicieron un gran trabajo en general. Yo creo que somos un equipo y lo más importante es la victoria, y eso es lo que se vino a hacer aquí. Independientemente del turno mío, yo creo que fue un turno que fui a buscar el mejor swing y gracias a Dios salió.
You know, I think it's important to highlight that, you know, the great job that the guys did. We're here at team, and the most important thing for us is to get the win. Independently, you know, I had a really good at-bat there. I went up there trying to make a good swing, and thankfully was able to get that.
Jose, how much did this game mean to you after all the struggles that you had early in the year, the way you worked through that to have a moment like this?
¿Qué tanto significa este juego para ti, sabiendo toda la lucha que pasaste durante la temporada, toda la alta y la baja durante la temporada para ti?
Yo creo que al final Dios sabe por qué hace las cosas. Si en la temporada no pasó de la mejor manera, aquí estamos funcionando un poquito mejor, pero lo más importante es la victoria como equipo, que es lo que se ve.
You know, I think God knows why he does what he does. You know, if we didn't get it in the regular season, I'm getting the results here now. You know, he's the one that knows, and the most important thing is that we got the win.
All right, a big play in this game is when Marcus Semien doubled him off, but initially he was called safe. Did you know that you tagged his batting glove on the slide back into first?
Una jugada grande en el juego fue cuando sacaste el doble play ya en primera base con Semien, que primero fue marcado safe, después con la repetición fue out. ¿Tú te diste cuenta que tú le tocaste la guantilla cuando fuiste aceleado?
Yo creo que todo pasó bien rápido, pero independientemente yo tenía aquello que lo había tocado y gracias a Dios se concretó.
Yeah, I think everything happened really fast, but at the moment I thought that I did tag him, and, you know, thankfully it came out like that.
Jose, thank you.
Astros with a 10-3 win. The series is tied at 2. It's now a best-of-3 in the ALCS. NLCS Game 3 between the Diamondbacks and Phillies, giving us a first this postseason.
The 0-1. Swing and a line drive. Base hit. Center field. Racing home is Pavin Smith. Ketel Marte and the Diamondbacks walk it off. And Arizona is back in this series. The Diamondbacks win it 2-1, and this series is now 2-1.
Marte with the game-winning hit, marking the first game this postseason that has featured a walk-off. You heard it here on ESPN Radio. John Shambi, Doug Glanville had the call for us. Boog.
Jay, thanks so much. Diamondbacks pull out the win 2-1 as they walk it off in the bottom of the ninth. Ketel Marte is the hero, Doug Glanville. But I think you got to start with Brandon Pfaadt, and overall the Diamondbacks pitching doing such a great job.
Well, yeah, Brandon Pfaadt. I mean, you talk about turning a series around. Everything was riding on his arm because they were down 2-0. It was not pretty in Philadelphia. And he's the third starter where they always have questions beyond Gallen and Kelly. And he picked up where he left off and how well he pitched in that Dodger series by being on top of it. I mean, he was impeccable. He did everything he could to give his team a chance to win. And so when he came out of the game, they were all set up. And they just needed to figure out a way to push a run across. So it was 1-1 for a little while. And finally, Marte was able to get the big hit. But Font just set that tone that, yes, this Philly team was dominant in Philadelphia, but if you execute your pitches, you can shut down an excellent and hot offense. I think that tone is set by Font and could have a chance to ripple to the rest of that pitching staff.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Game 4, regardless of who starts for the Phillies, whether it's Sanchez or Walker, both of them are likely to pitch. And meanwhile, on the other side, whether it's Ryan Nelson or whomever, it's going to be all hands on deck. And for both teams, I think in Game 4, you're going to see a number of pitchers, I should say, are going to be needed to execute in order to win the game.
Well, and then it becomes this battle of bullpens. And I think the risk the Phillies are running up against is Alvarado went 2 innings. All right, so is he going to be able to go 3 games in a row? Maybe on paper. But you start to use your closer today, didn't close it. So it starts to get, how are you going to match these guys up for 3 games? Because there's no day off anymore between these 3. So that is a big factor on how these bullpens shape up. But this is what you have to do. All hands on deck. They were all on deck today. The Diamondbacks were able to squeak one out.
So the Diamondbacks win it, the final 2-1. And now this series has the Phillies ahead 2-1 in this best-of-7 National League Championship Series. For Doug Lanville, I'm John Shambi right here in your home for the World Series, Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Now we send it back to Jay Reynolds in the studio.
All right, Boog, coming up on Friday, ALCS and NLCS both resume. NLCS coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern Time, Game 4 for the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. That one comes after Game 5 of the ALCS with the Astros and Rangers tied 2-2. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
Christian Kirk, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, to the goal line! Touchdown, Jacksonville! And the Jags have retaken the lead! The ball is incomplete in the left corner of the end zone. The Jags take over on down at their own 6-yard line with 21 seconds left in the ball game.
So many guys, on a short week, battling injury, to sacrifice that for the football team, says a lot about the character of these guys, and I'm so proud of them.
Jags get the win, holding off the Saints 31-24. Jags go to 5-2. First time they've won 5 of their first 7 since 2007. They get a big defensive stand to end it. You heard the 4th down stop there after a heartbreaking 3rd down drop for the Saints.
30 seconds. 3rd and goal. Carr to throw. Does throw to the end zone, and that is incomplete. Right through the hands of Foster Moreau. Got 2 hands on it at the far corner of the end zone, but could not bring it in.
Yeah, that's a corner route. And that's maybe an inch too far, but I don't know if you can throw it any better. That's one you got to come up with. It's just one you got to make.
It's on WWL. Derek Carr, 301 yards passing and a touchdown in the loss. He was this close on that play to having 6 more yards for his total and another touchdown, but Morrow drops it. ESPN analyst Damian Woody.
There was a simple drop by Moreau in the end zone. The ball was placed perfectly. There's nothing more that Derek Carr could have done in that situation. I didn't like the fades that they were throwing down there. It just wasn't, fades down that close aren't really they really don't work. But obviously you saw Moreau with the huge drop in the end zone. That's the difference in the ball game at the end of the game.
Kind of want to go to the Jags next and talk a little big picture with you here, Damian. They have won now. This is incredible considering how rigorous the NFL can be. They've won 3 games in 14 days. They beat the Bills in London and didn't get a bye week. You don't really see that often. 3 wins, 14 days across the Atlantic, no bye week. What do you think is fueling this team right now?
Oh, man, people don't understand how resilient you have to be when you have that many games in that short a time period. 2 of those games were in London, and they go out and get a win and then come back on a short week on Thursday night and go out there on the road and get another victory. It wasn't pretty, wasn't perfect, but in this league, wins are hard to come by. So you got to give credit to that, to Trevor Lawrence battling through the injury and just the whole Jaguars team for battling the schedule that was placed upon them. So kudos to them. They moved to 5-2.
What did you see from Lawrence down the stretch?
Yeah, listen, I thought some of the play calling was pretty good. You saw the one, what we call the choice route to Christian Kirk, where he got the honey badge on that route and went on to run 44 yards for the touchdown. So listen, it was in the second half. I thought the New Orleans Saints defense did a pretty good job of bottling up the Jacksonville Jaguars. But credit to the Jaguars, they made just enough plays at the end of the game to secure the win. So, again, when you play that many games in a short period of time, your body's exhausted, but they found a way to get it done.
Loss drops the Saints to 3-4. Jaguars go to 5-2. Jags 6-game road win streak, second longest in franchise history. Trevor Lawrence, 204 yards passing, 59 yards with his legs. But how's that knee?
It's good. I mean, golly, it's crazy how you have something like that going on. You don't plan on moving a lot, and you end up running the ball more than I usually do. So it's funny how that works. But it felt pretty good. I was happy with it, and didn't bother me too much. Definitely didn't set it back. So I'm really, really happy with that. That was the goal: is find a way to win the game, and not set it back. And we get 10 days now to recover and get ready for Pittsburgh. So I mean, it went perfect.
Trevor Lawrence throwing for a touchdown in the Jaguars' 31-24 win Thursday night over the Saints. Speaking of quarterbacks who've been facing injuries, Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson, ESPN insider Adam Schefter.
For starters, he was limited during practice today, but it was his first practice since September 22nd. So the fact that he was back out there at all is highly encouraging to the Cleveland Browns. He had said he didn't know when he could practice again yesterday, and one day later, he's out there. He looked like he could throw the football okay. I don't know if he can drive it as far as he wants or needs to, but he's throwing the football. And if he can throw the football, then there's the chance he's going to be out there on Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts, a positive sign for the Cleveland Browns today.
Speaking of coming up on Sunday, perhaps the marquee matchup, the Dolphins and the Eagles. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa earlier on ESPN Radio, former Super Bowl champion Anquan Boldin.
Right now he is. I mean, he has to be. But again, I think the only question has been, can he stay healthy for an entire season? And I hope that he does, because I mean, he's been able to do some great things. He's been able to lead that team to a place. I mean, they haven't been in quite some time. So hopefully he stays healthy for the rest of the season.
Tua, perhaps the front runner for MVP at the moment. Bolden saying sure. As for the challenges coming up on Sunday, ESPN analyst Damian Woody.
Philadelphia Eagles have a really good defensive front. I'm assuming that Jalen Carter's going to be back this week. That is a huge add to that Philadelphia Eagles front. If Miami deals with that Philadelphia Eagles front, if Mike McDaniel somehow neutralizes that front, count me all in on the Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins-Eagles marquee matchup in Week 7. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio.
James Harden is not with the 76ers, so where is he?
Oh, he's in Houston.
Houston?
And he's been in Houston for the last 3 days.
Really?
This is what you do when you do not have other moves to make.
We got work to do. There's a few days before we play again. It's my answer, man. He's here we go. He's not here we go.
Safe to say, I think if we don't see James Harden tomorrow, we're not going to see him on the court in the preseason, and that opens up a whole series of questions about whether we're going to see him on the court at all when the Sixers open their season against Dame Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the Milwaukee Bucks.
James Harden has yet to play in the preseason. He did attend training camp, continued to practice with the Sixers in the wake of that trade demand during the offseason. The Sixers' final preseason game coming up Friday night against the Hawks. Initially, he said he could possibly play in this one, but Thursday, not at practice. Again, second straight day he's missed practice. The official word from the team is that the disgruntled Harden is away because of a personal matter. Sixers guard Tyrese Maxey.
It's personal stuff that he has. We're just focusing on who's here right now. That's what we're focusing on right now, man. We're trying to focus on getting better every single day. Whoever's in the gym, I mean, we got a game, we got a job to do, and the people that's here, we're focused on it.
I think the organization has, made it clear what's going on. They're working on stuff as we say day by day. So that's it. We had a really good practice today. Very energetic with the guys that were here, and that's what we're focused on. I don't want to keep saying the same thing every day, but I've got a job to do with the guys that are here, and we just go to work. I think it's unlikely that he plays tomorrow. But again, you never know what tomorrow morning may bring, and we'll see.
Sixers coach Nick Nurse. Harden, certainly the focal point of the Sixers here in the preseason. Earlier on Greeny,
he believes the entire league owes him whatever he wants because he's so talented. But the truth is, the story of his career has always been when it mattered most, he doesn't come up big. And the moment things turn a direction he doesn't like, he just wants out. He ate himself out of Houston the first time. He got himself out of Brooklyn. And now he's trying to get himself out of Philly. And he's so offended that they haven't traded him. Who would want him? If you're the Clippers, what do you want with him? Just because he wants to be there? I find this extremely frustrating.
Sixers playing their final preseason game on Friday. Straight ahead, the one NFL player who knows he has to chill. Sports Center All Night continues. It's ESPN Radio.
From the first pitch of the wild card.
The pitch.
To the final out of the World Series.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss. And it is over.
Hear every pitch of Major League Baseball's postseason on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on your smart speaker. ESPN Radio Sports Center all night. More next.
Hey y'all, this is Ronte, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is the pimento cheese. I was like, go cheese, go pimento, go honey, go get it.
Hi, this is Chantrice, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is the mild spiciness of the pickled jalapenos. No, it's the crispy chicken. Actually, I can't decide. It's the entire sandwich.
Order the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
Hi, Phil Swift here for new Flex Super Glue. What's truly amazing is that our Flex Super Glue is so strong that just one drop virtually welds itself to the surface and can lift over 3 tons. Forget those old super glues. Get the one that's new. Flex Super Glue. Go to flexsealproducts.com/3-ton lift to learn more about how one drop lifted 3 tons. For demonstration purposes only.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected performance, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Visit prizepicks.com/OT and use code OT. That's code OT at prizepicks.com/OT.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Trying to protect your identity by yourself is a lot like trying to be a quarterback without an offensive line. LifeLock alerts you to blindside threats you may miss on your own, even if you're monitoring your credit. If a threat happens to get through, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist is there to help. Join now and save up to 25% your first year at LifeLock.com/sports. That's LifeLock.com/sports to save 25%. LifeLock. Identity theft protection starts here.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night, taking you to 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Unsportsmanlike with Evan, Canty, Michelle, 6 to 10 Eastern Time here on ESPN Radio. U.S. men's national soccer team captain Tyler Adams going to be out of action until next year following a second surgery on his hamstring. The Athletic saying that the 24-year-old had the surgery 2 weeks ago, expected to recover in about 5 months, but it keeps him out until at least mid-February. College football, big weekend coming up. SEC crossover showdown, Alabama, Tennessee. We know what happened last year after the walk-off field goal and the goalposts winding up in the Tennessee River. Pac-12 has a ranked showdown between number 14 Utah, number 18 USC. That one's here on ESPN Radio Saturday, 7:30 Eastern time. Of course, a lot of eyes on USC quarterback Caleb Williams. Earlier on ESPN Radio, former NFL GM Rick Spielman.
Just watching Caleb Williams, and I watched all his games, and I watched the Notre Dame game, which probably was one of his poorest performances to date. He threw those 3 interceptions in the first half and some very poor decisions, just putting the ball up for grabs. But everything that he's done up till then has been unique, I guess is the best way to put it. His athleticism, his arm talent, his ability to make off-schedule throws. By that, I mean getting outside the pocket.
So as we look ahead to next spring and Caleb Williams in the NFL draft?
I kind of went all the way back to an Andrew Luck type prospect. That if I had to compare a prospect that was clearly a number 1 overall pick, I would say him and Caleb Williams. That's who I went all the way back to compare him to.
Caleb Williams and the Trojans facing number 14 Utah. It's here on ESPN Radio, Saturday, 7:30 Eastern time. On the ice Thursday, Kraken a 7-4 win over the Hurricanes. Seattle's first win of the season. Avs shut out the Blackhawks 4-0. Colorado, 6th team in the last 20 years to go 4-0 while allowing 4 or fewer goals in the team's first 4 games. Bruins starting this season much like last year.
Eklund spinning, back of the cage, 21 years old, stripped to the puck. Bruins chip it ahead, chasing his Pasternak. He's got it into the right circle to the dot, and his shot was blocked. Rebound, they score!
98.5 The Sports Up. Bruins a 3-1 win over the Sharks. Bruins 3-0 for the second straight season. Golden Knights 5-0 after their 5-3 win over the Jets. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Top sounds from Thursday. Chris Smith.
Number 4.
We start with college football, where there are only 11 unbeaten teams in the FBS, with James Madison giving you 6 reasons why they are one of them. Dave Riggard with the call on Learfield.
Ball going to take a shot. Here's Reggie Brown on a fade to the near side. Makes it over the shoulder, catch the goal line. Gets inside the pylon. A strike from McLeod to Reggie Brown. Touchdown, James Madison. What a throw by McLeod. And Reggie Brown, now over 100 yards, gets the touchdown. And JMU extends its lead.
Number 3.
The roof was open in Arlington for Game 4 of the AL Championship Series between the Rangers and Astros, and maybe they should have closed it. The call on ESPN Radio.
Next pitch, Abreu rifles one deep to left center field, and Jose Abreu is a hero. A 3-run shot, and a no-doubter that traveled 438 feet. Abreu's 4th of the postseason. The Astros now lead by 4. What a shot.
Number 2.
Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence got the start against the Saints after being listed as questionable with a sprained knee, and he delivered when it mattered most. The call on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
An empty backfield for Trevor. 3 right, 2 left. He drops. Looks. Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. A crossing route to Christian Kirk. And the Jags have retaken the lead.
Number 1.
Over in the NLCS, Arizona looked to avoid a 3-0 series hole against Philadelphia. And with the score tied, knotted up at 1 apiece, the Diamondbacks loaded the bases in the bottom of the 9th. Boog Shambi with the call on ESPN Radio.
The 0-1. Swing and a line drive. Base hit. Center field. Racing home is Pavin Smith. Ketel Marte and the Diamondbacks walk it off. And Arizona is back in this series. The Diamondbacks win it 2-1, and this series is now 2-1.
Phillies had a chance to go up 3-0. Their manager, Rob Thompson, with reporters.
Do you feel like you guys missed an opportunity today to really put control on this series?
It was a great ball game. It could have gone either way, I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not going to think about it that way. I'm going to think about coming in here tomorrow and getting ready to compete.
Phillies with their first walk-off hit allowed in the postseason since 1993. Sports Center all night. Football, we've seen Derek Carr yell at coaches on the sideline. Thursday, yelled at Chris Olave for stopping on a route when Carr threw the ball well out of bounds.
The slow start, I've been showing my emotion a little bit too much on my sleeve, I kind of got to chill out, and that's me holding myself accountable, because that's not going to help anything. And so just trying to be a calming influence in those moments, especially when it's been a couple of times it's happened, that heightened frustration. I could do a better job as a leader to calm everybody down.
Carr was 0 for 6 on passes when the Saints were facing goal-to-go situations last night. That'll do it for Sports Center all night. I'm Jay Reynolds. It's Friday, October 20th, birthday of Juan Marichal, the Baseball Hall of Famer, turning 86 today. Both LCS continue today. They are, of course, here on ESPN Radio. But up next is Unsportsmanlike. Evan, Canty, and Michelle. They've got reaction to last night. It's here on ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you which game I believe will have the biggest impact on the playoff picture this weekend. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2,
Attention,
and
Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-238-9518. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-238-9518. That's 800-238-9518. Again, 800-238-9518.
What's up, everybody? This is Freddie Coleman, and coming up on Friday, how about the Diamondbacks fighting back to make it a series against Philadelphia? We'll break that down and get you ready for a weekend full of football. Join us on Freddie and Harry, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Saturday Night Football. Heisman hopeful Jordan Travis and the undefeated Seminoles are out to prove they're a legit contender.
They are talking college football playoff in Tallahassee.
While the undaunted Blue Devils enter a hostile environment, eager to take down another conference heavyweight.
This is the kind of game that can elevate a program.
Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Number 16 Duke at number 4 Florida State. Saturday at 7:30 Eastern on ABC. The greatest story ever played.
Friday, Carlin versus Joe. The Phillies let one get away, and Arizona is back in the series.
Pennsylvania stand up. It's not just the Phils, Eagles, and Nittany Lions in huge action as well.
Friday, Carlin versus Joe, noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
I'm Israel Gutierrez, host of the podcast ESPN Daily. Every weekday morning, I'll bring you the best sports story you'll hear all day. Today on ESPN Daily, Ryan McGee joins us at the halfway point in the college football season and breaks down what's next from coast to coast. That's ESPN Daily. Follow us and listen wherever you get good podcasts.
Today on ESPN Radio. Down 2-1. Can the D-backs make it 2 straight at home? Or will the Phillies bounce back and take the commanding 3-1 series lead?
Swing and a line drive, base hit, center field. Racing home is Pavin Smith. Ketel Marte and the Diamondbacks walk it off.
Game 4, the Phillies and Diamondbacks in the National League Championship. Coverage begins today at 7:30 Eastern, with first pitch at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio. This is Unsportsmanlike with Chris Canty, Evan Cohen, and Michelle Smallman.
Thursday night prop bets.
Total points over under 40.
Ooh, I'm going to go under on that one. I'm going under on that one. Low scoring affair.
You sure about that?
If it's 40, they're begging you to take the over. Not going to do it.
The price is wrong.
I thought there was a typo. You have Trevor Lawrence, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, Calvin Ridley, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. What, 40?
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
Okay, welcome to the show. It is Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. You can watch us on ESPN2. Listen to us on all the ESPN stations across the country. Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app. And you can join the show, be a part of it. We welcome you in as part of Unsportsmanlike Nation on the Dr. Pepper call-in line. You can call us at 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. ESPN Nation, presented by Dr. Pepper. It's not college football season without the delicious taste of an ice-cold Dr. Pepper, the ones fans deserve. Along with Michelle Smallman, Chris Canty, Evan Cohen with you. Coming off of Thursday Night Football, in which the over did hit. Jacksonville beat New Orleans 31-24. And as you see on the television side, one Chris Canty is putting his $1 bill into that bad take jar. Well, you got some nice.
You got a stack over there.
Are you ready? How many other bad takes did you have today?
No, that's not for bad takes. That's for something else. But I just happen to have it in my wallet, so yeah, it actually works out for me where I can put $1 in the bad take jar. I actually don't remember being so strong on the under with Thursday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
I guess coming off of what we saw last week with Chiefs and Broncos, kind of got me discombobulated a little bit. But yeah, didn't expect that I would have to put some money in the take jar so early in the show.
Well, we did have the conversation afterwards about how the point totals this season have been low.
Yes.
Surprisingly low.
Yes.
Offense outside of Miami, they're not generating points in the manner in which they have a couple years ago. So,
Yep.
CC, I understand why maybe you would want to take the under on the points.
Absolutely, especially with the red zone stuff, right? Like teams have struggled in the red zone. That wasn't the Jacksonville Jaguars last night. They were a perfect 2 for 2. The New Orleans Saints on the other side, not so much.
Yeah, as we walk through that game, speaking of that, I think the game was arguably lost in the first quarter, and I know the Saints came back, but what the Saints did in the first quarter, 3 drives inside that red zone, well, ultimately they had a missed field goal. They have a punt after, 2 drives, in the red zone. They have a punt after a fumble by Jacksonville, and then they kick a field goal when they get the ball 1st and 10 at the Jacksonville 17 after a muff punt, and they didn't do anything with it. After being down 14-3 in the second quarter, the Saints fans were booing like crazy. Like, they were intense in their booing. Obviously, the Saints came back in this game. Jacksonville was up 24-9 after 3 quarters. And then Taysom Hill had a 1-yard touchdown run. Michael Thomas had a touchdown catch. Alvin Kamara with a 2-point conversion. It was tied at 24 in that 4th quarter. Jacksonville then scored on a 44-yard touchdown to Christian Kirk from Trevor Lawrence. And New Orleans gets the ball back. They go 12 plays, 69 yards in 2:47. They have 1st and goal from the 6. What do they have? Incomplete, drop pass, incomplete, ball game over. Jacksonville now 5-2.
Yeah, and it's a tale of 2 quarterbacks, right? There was a difference in how Trevor Lawrence responded when Christian Kirk had the early fumble. He kept going to Christian Kirk and ultimately gets rewarded by Kirk housing the game-winning catch and run. And then ultimately Derek Carr trying to find Chris Olave on that fade route. Remember, Derek Carr earlier in the game chewed out Chris Olave from stopping on a go ball, and the ball ultimately ended up sailing, and they had no shot at being able to make a play on it. Derek Carr was demonstrative, and then Chris Olave felt like he was checked out for the majority of that game. So, again, your quarterback's temperament in those types of circumstances absolutely matters. Last night, Trevor Lawrence was a stabilizing force for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's been that way for the entirety of the season. That's why you're talking about a team that's won 4 straight games. And here's the kicker, Smalls. This Jacksonville Jaguars team has won 3 games in 14 days, including a win across the pond against the Buffalo Bills, which all of us will acknowledge is a quality opponent. Remember the Miami Dolphins, the unstoppable offense? Yeah, the Bills smoked those dudes. And then the following week, you're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars taking care of business in the London game against said Buffalo Bills. So to me, it's impressive to see the character of this team on display, because even though they had the gaps early on, the Christian Kirk fumble, and then right after that, they forced the 3 and out, and then their own guy, that's trying to block, runs into the punt returner as he's waving for a fair catch, forcing a turnover. Their defense sudden change, holds them to a field goal. Those are the types of things that contending teams do. Those are the types of plays that contending teams make. And so I got to give credit where credit is due. That's a team that didn't flinch even when New Orleans mounted a comeback, even after a bad coaching decision with Doug Peterson going forward on 4th and inches and giving a short field to the New Orleans Saints, which they converted into a touchdown. This team found a way to overcome all of those things and get out of there with a road win on a short week with a banged-up quarterback.
I was just going to say, and they did it with Trevor Lawrence, who we didn't even know if he was going to play in the game last night. You always talk about sports character, and Evan, I remember both of you saying you thought that he was going to play because that's the type of guy he is.
Yep.
If he feels like he can give you even 50%, 70% of himself, he's going to find a way to go out there. And I just think that we saw it last night. Trevor Lawrence, even if he's not 100%, is going to be there for his team and find a way to win.
You know, there was a saying I heard a long time ago, what's wrong with being number 2? I want to say it may have been in a book or something like that. And that's the theme of the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. What's wrong with being number 2? I think Trevor Lawrence right now is the second best quarterback that I would have in my team for the next 5 years outside of Mahomes. If you said to me...
Over Burrow?
Over Burrow.
Wow.
Right this second. I love Trevor Lawrence. And CeCe, I'm walking you into this. Who's number 2 in the AFC right now behind Kansas City?
Listen, you can make a case for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just laid it out.
With being number 2?
Listen, well, nobody wants to sign up to be vice president. Everybody wants to grow up and be president. You want to be the top dog. But that's clearly the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. Now, the question is, which one of these other teams in the AFC has the best chance of being able to close the gap by the time we get to the playoffs when the games matter the most? I can make a strong case that it should be the Jacksonville Jaguars because of what they just did over the last 2 game span. This is a team that we know what they can do on the offensive side of the ball. We know their defense was tops in takeaways on the season so far. You've got a defense that's also top 10 in EPA. The only area of their defense where I'm a little bit on the fence about is their pass rush. Trayvon Walker has not lived up to being the number 1 overall pick. We'll see how that comes along. But they got ballers on that side of the ball. When you look at Devin Lloyd, when you look at 4e Oluokun, who was all over the field last night. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Travis Etienne, 1,000-yard rusher. You've got Calvin Ridley, 1,000-yard receiver. You've got Evan Ingram, who caught 100 balls. Like, you've got the talent that it takes in order to compete at the highest levels of the sport. And this was a team last year in the playoffs that went in the Arrowhead, and it was a 3-point ball game in the fourth quarter. So if we're projecting what these teams are going to be once the second season gets here, I'm more bullish on the Jacksonville Jaguars than I am any of the other teams that we dub contenders in the AFC.
And when we talk about those teams that are contenders, one of the things that we always lean on is quarterback head coach synergy.
Yep.
And we talk about Andy Reid and Mahomes. We've talked a lot about Mike McDaniel and Tua, Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. For some reason, we don't mention as much as we should how much Doug Peterson has been great for Trevor Lawrence. And I remember last year when they were making that run, reading a lot about the fact that he had a relationship with Dabo and he knew how to coach Trevor the way that he needed to. And they just have a really, really great synergy with one another. And I think that, you know, if you're projecting a team out for the next 5 years, the Jaguars are certainly up at the top of that list. And part of it's because I love that their head coach not only knows his quarterback, but he's got championship pedigree. He knows how to get it done.
There are 2 coaches, I feel like, in the last 20 to 30 years that we sit back and we're like, oh, yeah, that guy won a Super Bowl. Brian Billick and Doug Peterson. Like, you almost just forget that Billick won with the Ravens and Doug Peterson won with the Eagles. They're just like, wait, oh, yeah, they won a Super Bowl. Like, we should give them more credit for that.
With Peterson, it was such a convoluted exit from Philadelphia too, with the Howie Roseman stuff and, you know, the Carson Wentz debacle.
And people are giving more credit to Reich than they were Peterson because he was the play caller. So and then he didn't really have much of a window to stay after the fact that he wasn't that good for whatever that year was. But this guy gets a second chance, and that QB coach combo is really good. And I have you say that they're the second best team in the AFC or could be the second best team in the AFC. I don't think that's that bold of a take. I think, how do you watch that team last night? Because I'm agreeing with you and not think, wow, if they stay healthy, they're going to get better. Their defense had to stand late. Now, they let up points late, and okay, they're up 24-9, but they let up points late. But they also had a huge stand inside the 10-yard line to win a game. Trevor Lawrence slings the ball in a way that make one less mistake a game. He's phenomenal. He is going to live up to the hype. They're awesome. They're awesome.
And here's the thing. They almost had a second goal-to-goal stand at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Had it not been for Taysom Hill being able to make a Herculean effort at the goal line on a fourth down, you're talking about a defense that had the potential to stop a team first and goal from the 3-yard line. So, again, I think Jacksonville's defense is underrated. And to your point, Ev, this team is right there.
And then a great special teams fake punt that was awesome last night.
This team is right there, and I don't think people look at it that way. I don't know why the narrative has been spun, whether it's about whoever finishes as the top dog in the AFC East as the second best team in the conference. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are right there with the Dolphins, the Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, whoever else you want to put right behind the Kansas City Chiefs. They're right there. And when you look at this quarterback, head coach, and the talent that they have on both sides of the ball, why can't Jacksonville be the second best team in this conference? Why can't Jacksonville be in the conference championship game? Guys, you know that was one of my bold predictions this year, that the Jags would make it to the AFC championship game. I didn't see anything last night. I haven't seen anything over the last month of football that would sway me off of that.
And I'm right there with you, because I said before the season, I thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be the MVP. He's not the MVP right now, but I think he's an MVP caliber player. It's weird. The theme that you see today is that number 2. I mean, do people look at the Jaguars right now, as CeCe said, and say they're the second best team in the AFC?